Hello class, here it is, the big bandsaw. That's right, it's a 12-foot blade circulating around two large wheels, and it's going to help you cut your material to width. Let's get some details.
That's the name of this tool. Let's tell you about some of the features. Alright, number one, we're going to talk to you about the fence. This item here, this is your fence. That's what you're going to be pushing your material along so that it keeps it straight and at the same distance away from the blade. The fence is equipped with a fence lock. This is going to allow you to move your fence when you need it to move, and it's going to allow you to, when you've got your measurement where it needs to be, lock down so that it is unable to move. So we have our fence lock. We have our measuring tape. When you come to use this tool, you're going to want to make sure that that line in the middle of the plastic is lined up with the measurement that you want. Next we have the on and off switch. I think you'll find which one's which. It says start and stop. I'm more concerned about the one that says stop in the event that you need to turn it off quickly. Another important feature of the bandsaw is down here. This is your blade brake. You'll use this after turning off the saw to slow down the blade so that you can then clear your pieces. Also important to this saw, but not a part of the saw, are the push sticks. These are what you will use so that you do not have to have your hands close to the blade. I'll tell you more about that in a second. Now that you've learned all the parts of this tool, I bet you think you're ready to use this beast. Well, we'll see. Here's a few tips. Before you start, I would recommend that you are certain about the measurement that you've put in here. So once you know that you've got that measurement set, be sure that you've also locked the fence lock here. Next, you're going to want to make sure that whatever it is you're cutting has at least one straight edge. So if your piece looks like that, and the other edge isn't straight either, you're going to want to start by cutting a straight edge on your fez tool. You can check to see if it's a straight edge by putting your edge that you think is straight against this fence and see if there are any gaps. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you always have your straight edge of your material against the fence so that the cut it makes on the other side is parallel. Now that you know that you've got a straight edge on your material and your measurement is locked and loaded, you're ready to cut. So you're going to turn your machine on and you're going to make sure that your straight edge is against the fence over here, and you're going to start to push. Now as you start to push your material through the blade, I want you to make sure that you've got one of your push sticks coming with your left hand pressing tight against your material going this way. That's what's going to keep your material tight against the fence. And then with your right hand, you'll be pushing the material through the blade this direction. So you want to make sure that you never have your hands close to the blade. That's what the push sticks are for. So once you get your hands towards the metal table, you can let go with your hand and grab a push stick to push the material the rest of the way through. If at any point your material starts to come off of the fence and you see a gap between your material and the fence, please stop and back the piece off and try again. Once you've completed your cut and it all looks good, remember to hit the stop button first, and then after you've hit the stop button, hit that blade brake down below so that you can stop the blade quickly. Once the blades come to a complete stop, as with this, you can clear your scraps and material and make sure you take any scraps and either put them in a scrap bin or in the trash and keep your material with you. Alright, now you know how to complete a cut on the bandsaw. Let's review a few things. So, when you're done with your cut, hitting stop, then hitting the brake. Never hit the brake before you've hit stop. That is one of the things you should never do. Also, please never have your fingers over this metal table. Be using push sticks both behind your piece and to the side, and that will keep your fingers on your body. Important things to remember. make sure your material has one straight edge. If it does not, make sure to go back to the fez tool and get yourself a straight edge. Also, once you have that straight edge, remember to always have your straight edge against the fence. Because if you've checked and you have a straight edge but you don't have it towards the fence, then the other edge may not be straight, and then you're ruining your piece because you've cut off the straight edge. There are two things that can really ruin your project. Number one is if you don't have proper tension coming from the left and pressing against the fence. So you want to have those push sticks pushing that direction so that your material doesn't come off the fence. If it comes off the fence, that means part of your board will be wider than the other part. Another way that that same effect can happen is if this fence lock is not tight. And then the person who's doing their job really well and pushing hard on the fence so that the material is tight will actually push the fence away, and then your piece will continue to get wider and wider until maybe you even exit the piece. And then we have ourselves a problem. So make sure your fence is locked and that you always have correct tension against the fence so that you don't have a gap, creating a less than parallel piece.